Hey there, Lysandra Everett here, the Millionaire Mill Spouse, and today is midweek motivation time. And what I'd like to talk to you about is the power of belief. You know, sometimes we just have to be dumb enough to believe, and there's just no better way to say that. I remember when I was 20, I think I was about 27, 28 years old. Anyway, I was living in Baltimore, Maryland, and I was sitting in church, and the minister stood up, and his name was Reverend Lucas. I love Reverend Lucas anyway. And so he was talking about his experience with buying a home. And, he said, there's no reason why everybody shouldn't be able to have their own home. And mind you, this is before all the funky Linden stuff that caused the whole real estate bubble and all that, okay? But he said, there's no reason that everyone shouldn't have a home. He said, when I bought my house, I didn't have no job, I have no money, I have no credit, but I still was able to buy a house. And I thought to myself, okay, well, I want to buy a house. Now, mind you, at that time, I look back on it now and I don't even know why I listened to this man. To be really honest with you, I don't know why I believed him, but check this out. Because during that time, I was in severe debt. This was my first time, being out. I have moved away from home. My home is in Georgia, and I have moved 600 miles away to Baltimore. I had every credit card known to man, and they all had a balance. Not to mention student loans, regular bills, and everything. So to say that I was broke, I was broke. I think I was making probably about $26,000 a year at that time. And so here I was, I was going through consumer credit counseling at that time to help relieve some of those financial pressures. And that was a really huge relief for me, and to be able to really get my finances under control. And so anyway, so then, it came to me, I'm like, well, I want to buy a house. So, and I look back on it now and I'm thinking to myself, how can someone who's making, $24,000, $26,000 a year in debt up to her eyeballs even think about buying a house? But I didn't think that way then. All I knew is he said that I should be able to have a house, and so I wanted a house. Okay, well, here we go. Fast forward a little bit here. This is what happened. I went to work. I was in the consumer credit counseling program for about a year. And then I decided I wanted to, to buy a house by the time I was 30. So, I just kept going, right? I did all the right things. I made sure all my bills were paid on time. And, I really kept my nose clean financially. And so then I finally went to the lender and I got approved for $90,000. Now, what was funny about that is the realtor that I had said that, you can buy a townhouse. Well, I didn't want a townhouse. I didn't want my house attached to nobody else. I wanted my house, right? And so he said to me, there's no way in the world you're going to find a house, a single family home for $90,000 in Baltimore County. And I was like, well, that's what I want. So we searched probably for about 4 months. Okay. And then we finally came up on this house. The house had been on the market for almost a year. Okay. Almost a year. And it was perfect. It was stone. I loved stone. It was a single family home. I had my own driveway. I didn't have a garage, but I didn't care about a garage. My own driveway, and it was small and it was cute and it was mine. I saw that house and said, that's my house. Okay. Nuts and bolts is I wound up buying my first home before I turned 30. I moved into my house, and like I said, looking back on it now, I'm just amazed. I'm amazed because I was simply dumb enough to believe. That's the only thing that I can attribute this to, because all the other circumstances didn't make sense. Okay. I was broke. I wasn't making that much money. I, was in debt up to my eyeballs. and going through consumer credit counseling, which in itself is a form of bankruptcy. I didn't find that out until afterwards, but it's a form of bankruptcy. And so I went through all that, and I was still able to buy a home, buy my first home. And all of my other friends that were, that I knew and that were my age, they were still living in apartments, living with their parents. And here I was blessed enough to be able to buy a home simply because I was dumb enough to believe. And that's where we need to be. And children do this so well. They believe like nobody's business. It doesn't matter what it is. They believe. And we as adults, we think our way out of stuff, right? I mean, if I would have thought about all of this back then, I'd probably still been living in an apartment now. I mean, all of the, oh, I'm not making enough money. Oh, I got all this debt. Oh, I got this, I got that. If I'd have thought my way through that whole thing, then I would not have ever been able to buy a house. And so what I'm telling you now is that it doesn't really matter what your circumstances look like. And you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, I never thought I'd be saying this to you guys. It doesn't matter what your circumstances look like. Just believe and take the right actions. Okay? Believe and take the right actions. Because by doing that, you're one step closer. Now, when I set out to buy this house, did I go out and buy a house immediately? Absolutely not. I had to, from the time I decided I was going to buy a house until the time I closed was probably about a year and a half-ish. Okay, about a year and a half from the time I decided, yes, I'm going to buy a house until the time I closed was probably about a year and a half. And so, most people might think, well, a year and a half isn't long. But listen, when you want something, sometimes that year and a half can seem like 10 years. Okay, but I never stopped believing that it could happen to me. I can never stop believing it can happen for me. I never stopped believing that it was possible for me. And that's what we have to do. That's what you have to do. Make a decision to be dumb enough to believe that you can get what it is that you dream of and take the right action every day, step by step, little by little, to get you where you want to go. Okay? So it's belief. And also, I'll add to that, right action, because I think it was Tony Robbins who said you can believe all day long that if you sail east, you're going to get to a sunset. That's not true, okay? If you're looking for a sunset, you got to turn west, okay? So it's belief followed by right action, but it starts with belief. This is LaSondra Everett, the Millionaire Mill Spouse. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.